What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We are going to be talking about the DPS build for Captain America. I did one originally on the alternate channel, and that video has done very well with like 10,000 views on it. Channel has like 200 subs. Very impressive. A lot of people watched that and really enjoyed that video. We're going to do an updated guide for this today because there's been some changes to Cap overall. I've been trying out a little more of his specializations. I've tried new talents, but also a new costume is coming to the game, which is top tier for the DPS build, and it is not the Rise of the East costume set. So don't worry, this is actually a very free-to-play friendly costume set that's #1 now for Cap in this DPS build. So we're going to talk about all that in today's video. If you guys do find this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot more Future Revolution content here on the channel as well. And also, if you're looking for timestamps as to what we're covering in each section, we're going to talk about like your skills, your Omega cards, your talents, your costumes, everything. There will be timestamps down below as well if you're looking for a certain section of the video too. So do not worry about that. But let's start with Cap. So Cap, just as a general rule, he's built as a tank naturally. He's got high defense, has the highest defense stat in the game, second highest stat for health behind Spider-Man in the game. He's a defensive tank. He's designed to take damage and just kind of keep on rolling. But you can build up certain specs on him and kind of build out certain costume sets on him and get a very respectable DPS build out of him. He's not top tier in DPS. He's not going to be like Iron Man. He's not going to set the world on fire with his DPS, but he can be a very strong DPS build when he's built right. And we're going to talk about that in this video. So, like any DPS build out there, usually your highest set stats or your highest stat priorities are going to be crit rate, crit damage, attack, things like that. And also with Cap, you get this nice little bonus where you actually get, the more defense you stack on him, the more attack you get on him as well. Like, here's my Cap right now. 830k power on him, almost 17,000 attack, and 14,500 defense. And this is very important because one of his specializations will give him bonus attack based on a percentage of his defense. So you can naturally build up defense with certain items on him, and that will give you boosted attack. And we'll talk about that in his stat priorities. But you can see right now, I have 6-star costumes on him, and that is the Marvel Now costume set. That's the best DPS build set or costume set for him now. And then we got a myriad of badges over here. No crazy sets, no red level 100 Dark Zone badges on him. This is a very much affordable DPS build that you can run on him without having to break the bank. So stat priority, we know how that works. His skills, and this is going to change based on how you have your specializations on him. Right now, my skill layout I have this punch here at #1, and that's because of a certain specialization, which we'll talk about. We have Spearhead here at #2. This allows him to give a dash. This allows him to quickly close the distance if necessary. You can switch one and two around. I just do one because most of the time I'm using that right away to boost the damage on him, and the cooldowns work really well where it lines up pretty well with his release ability. That dash works very well, but then I also have his shield throw at #3, which does bounce between multiple targets. It gives him a bit of a bounce back, but also decreases defense on the enemy targets. His whirlwind at #4. This one, I have the pulverization vortex on. This allows him to pull enemies along with him. This is great for PvE content. It allows you to constantly pull the enemies along with you so they are being dragged along and getting hit multiple times by the spin. And then at #5, I have Vibranium Release, his Unbreakable Will. This one, I'm very much in love with the Shield Impact one because it gives him a very solid damage reduction as well while he's using it. So if the boss is about to knock things off and you're out of dodges, but this is up, you can pop this. Even if you don't have Vibranium Release fully charged, you can still pop this, and it's a sort of damage mitigation ability. I love having that available for him. It's very, very helpful. Plus, in combination with his ultimate, where he takes like no damage at all during his ultimate, this is great. I love this. Very good here. But also very respectable 991% damage with this. This is a very hard-hitting release ability, and once you get that Vibranium gauge fully charged up, another 30% bonus added onto that, so multiplied by 30%. So yeah, it's gonna be dealing a lot of damage, and maybe we'll see when we test this out in the in a raid or something. I've seen it break upwards of 700k on a crit with this when it's releasing the Vibranium gauge. Moving on from there, let's talk on mega cards. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. We're talking Midgardia number 4 set. I've got 2-piece on it. The crit damage here with Loki and with Thor, attack and crit damage on those 2 primary sets. Then I'm also working on a Hydra Empire number 2, a 2-set bonus there with the attack bonus. And then also, if possible, Midgardia number 2. You can find Defense Pierce. Defense Pierce is not the best stat overall. It's kind of weak, but for PvE, it does have a bit of a purpose. But anything you can use that can boost that crit damage or that attack stat would be very helpful. But I have this from the Dark Zone, and this Omega card, it's just so good for what you're running with a DPS build that I'm kind of having to break one of the sets up. And this crit rate increase on the Captain America number 26, that crit rate damage boost, that crit rate boost is just so good. I mean, 10% on that, I'll take that. That's very, very helpful. And like I said, with DPS builds, you're stacking up crit rate and crit damage. And that's why I've got a lot of crit damage cards here. Crit damage on that. I've got the crit damage here on the Red Skull, and I believe the Uncanny Avengers over here has attack. So I've got a mixture of 3 crit damage cards here, 2 attacks, and 1 crit rate primary stat on them. In terms of the secondary and exclusive stats, you do want to go for total damage increase here on the bonus stat. That's kind of the best one to go for. Just overall, it's an increase to his damage. The surface to air damage, the exclusive stats are all hot garbage for PvE DPS builds, so there's really no need to worry about any of that. Surface to air and air to surface are both bad. The guard rate, the guard damage increase, I mean, it's okay for bosses, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're only breaking guard once, maybe twice if you're lucky. So increasing the guard damage on that, it's really not going to do anything. That's more for like PvP kind of stuff. So the exclusive stat for PvE DPS, don't even need to worry about that. Now, moving on to that, your potential. And this is where this number 1 slot here on your potential, especially at those later slots, is going to be very, very important. That first level of stats, I mean, attack, defense, and HP, those are all very helpful for him. HP here at level 2, make this a secondary priority. What you want to be focusing on is slots 3 and 4 for his potential and going for that defense. That big boost in defense, again, we'll get to it, but this defense is very important for boosting his damage overall. Very, very helpful. Then go back and increase his HP, and then start working on your HP recovery. That's just something very important for Captain America. He's got one of the best HP recovery stats in the game. It just helps him heal up better overall. And then guard damage decrease and status effect decrease last. Those are more PvP kind of stuff. You don't really need to worry about that for PvE content. So, moving on to that, the cores, crit damage on the green one. Go for that over defense pierce. Defense pierce, again, not the best. Crit rate on the red power cores. That's just great. And then defense on the blue cores. I mean, yeah, just stack defense on the blue. Crit rate on the reds, and then crit damage on the greens. For the yellows, HP recovery, it doesn't really matter. You don't need to worry about the yellow. The yellow cores, just overall, they're very weak for most classes out there. So yeah, there's no real need to worry about what prioritizing something in the yellow cores. Just use whatever you have on hand. Like, I'll just have a 4% increase to his HP. That's why I've got it. So you don't need to worry about the yellow cores, but yeah, though that defense in the blue cores is very important. And here we go, your specialization. This should be your number 1 priority for DPS on cap. In fact, for most builds on cap, this is your number 1 priority. It says it converts a percentage of defense into attack. It does not steal defense and give it to attack. What it does is it takes your defense stat, it takes a percentage of that defense stat, and then gives that as a stat bonus to attack. So, like, let's say you've got 10,000 defense, and you're converting 10% of that. So 10% of 10,000 is what? 1,000. So you're getting 1,000 bonus attack from that. It's pretty significant. And this goes all the way up to 20% of your defense is added to your attack as well. This is your number 1 potential, your number 1 specialization priority for Captain America, regardless of whatever it is that you're doing. This is very, very important. Number 2 should be this passion, absorbing percentage of your damage dealt to enemies HP. With your DPS builds, with this, you're basically never using health potions. Especially when we go into the ultimate raid, you'll see I take damage, but I just healed up right back away because I'm just doing so much damage. Once you get those two, it kind of messes things around. One I used to use all the time was decreasing damage received from nearby targets. This is pretty good for the most part for DPS. Very good for tanking, very good for PvP. You can't go wrong with this specialization for those other two areas. But I started experimenting around and seeing what else I could use out there that could be helpful. And let me just show you what I'm running right now. I am actually using that, and I may eventually switch to this one up here. But one I thought was very, very important, and we're going to be focusing on this one here as well. This here, Bravery. Increase damage to the first skill used within 6 seconds after using a hand-to-hand combat skill by 12%. It will upgrade to 30% when fully maxed out. That's very, very big. When you time this with your Vibranium Release skill, if you have that gauge fully built up, you pop a hand-to-hand combat ability that boosts that damage by 30%, plus the Vibranium gauge gives another 30% on top of that. That release skill is going to do a ton of damage. That's why we're getting like 700, 800,000 crits with that release skill with this. It's just popping off and just doing tons of damage. And then this one here, the hand-to-hand combat class skill damage boost, this will go up to 20%. I'm kind of eyeing this, and I'm working my way towards it. Gotta finish up these last few upgrades after running the Loki raid, but this I think is gonna be very helpful as well. These two kind of go hand in hand, you know. Pardon the pun, but yeah, increasing the damage after using hand-to-hand combat skills, but also increasing the damage of your hand-to-hand combat skills. These two, as you're gonna see, these work out very well. I was not high on these initially when I was looking at things, but I decided, you know what? Let's try it. Let's see what happens. And now that I've been using this, been a huge increase in my damage, especially since I'm using a short cooldown on a hand-to-hand combat skill. So now I'm going to be using this, and yeah, it's just great. One thing I do want to mention is this regroup ability. I thought this was going to work very well. I had started upgrading it. It's not good. Of course I failed. But yeah. But yeah, this one, even at 30%, it almost never procs. I don't know if it's bugged. I think maybe it's bugged. I need to ask the devs about it. I just never seem to get this to proc. It's just not good. And even then, it's only a like 50% chance to absorb an initial 20%, which means you get to use your release ability more often. But the RNG with this, I don't know if it's just a bug, or maybe it's just the world's worst luck. And the time I used this for like 2 weeks, I saw it pop 5 times. Like, I'm pretty sure this is bugged. It has to be bugged, because even at 30, I think even a 30% chance to absorb 20% additional, I should be seeing it pop more often. I never saw it pop, and that drove me insane. So maybe this is bugged. Maybe I just had the worst luck in the world. But if this works properly, I can see this being used over, say, increasing the hand-to-hand combat skill. Because this means you're going to get off a lot more Vibranium Release abilities, which means more damage. You're talking a very solid damage increase by using this over the hand-to-hand combat skill. So, I mean, maybe down the road in a couple years, when I can finally get those final upgrades on this and we try it again, maybe it'll be working properly. Maybe it's just bad luck on my end. But yeah, I think this one I'm just not a big fan of right now. We'll see in the future. Now, there are some other ones over here. The defense when using Cure, the decrease in duration of status effects, increasing guard damage when using Release class skill, and increasing your recovery rate. These are all more focused for PvP stuff. Don't really worry about them. You don't need to worry about using those for PvE content. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this probably works very well where tanking with PvE. If you're going for a tank build, I could see this working pretty well. Same with the HP recovery rate. That could be pretty good for tanking as well. But yeah, I wouldn't really worry about those for PvE DPS. So let's move on to the big thing, the costume set. This is the biggest change, and this is something that I don't think is said enough, because I still see people trying to push for the regional sets on the DPS build for Cap. And honestly, you're kind of wasting your time. Now, that's maybe a little harsh. The regional sets are still good. The thing is, though, this Marvel Now costume set that we got recently with the introduction of like Rise of the East and everything, When I saw it, I thought it was going to be a premium set because it was just perfect for your DPS builds. So what does this Marvel Now costume set do? Increases your defense, which is fine. That gives you a bonus to your attack anyways. 3 set increases your attack, and then the 4 set increases your Unbreakable Will skill level by 6. This is hands down the best DPS costume set now for Captain America, which is insane because it's not even a premium set. It's not a regional set. You pull it all the time in costume pulls now. I'm getting them left and right. I've got so many like that I'm just like using to upgrade. I mean, I have more right here. There's a Marvel Now set there. I think I've got, yeah, Marvel Now boots here. So, yeah, this costume set is just so good. Why is it so good? Well, let's compare some of your regional sets. And we're gonna go here to the, actually, yeah, because we got this going on right now. We can see all the costume, all the regional sets right here. So Stark City, defense, HP, ultimate, not that good. Ultimate doesn't get used that often. Xandarth, assistance class skill, defense, HP. Assistance is good, especially for PvP, but the Hydra set's better than that. The Midgardia set, which before Marvel Now was the best DPS regional set to go for, just best DPS set overall, defense, HP, and Vibranium Release class skill plus 6. That was pretty freaking good. And then Sakaar, which was another good one, defense, HP, and hand-to-hand skill plus 6. And then the Hydra Empire set, defense and attack, and then assistance class skill. This is the only set, the only regional set for Cap that gives attack at that 3 set. And that's why a lot of people ran Hydra, especially for PvP. The attack boost was great, and the assistance skill, which means that you gave more defense, you gave higher barriers to your allies, more healing, whatever you want to use with that assistance skill. So Hydra's pretty much the go-to PvP set, but Hydra's the only set for region that gave attack bonuses. And so between that or Midgardia, you would go for one or the other, but you'd be kind of sacrificing things. You know, Hydra wouldn't give you a skill boost like Midgardia would, but Midgardia doesn't give you an attack boost. And that's where the Marvel Now set is just top tier for DPS, because you get the attack boost at level 3, and you get the Vibranium Release skill. Now, it's only one release skill that gets boosted, but that release skill is the more powerful of the two. The Unbreakable Will is much more powerful than Promise of Victory. Promise of Victory has shorter cooldowns, but Unbreakable Will deals more damage. It's the more stronger one. You want to go for the higher damage abilities, especially as you start to increase your stats. You're going for the shorter cooldowns, the better stamina recovery. Unbreakable Will is just going to be the better Vibranium Release skill class for you to use. So, yeah, Marvel Now is just, it's incredible how good that costume set is. That's why I'm using it. Now, there are other costume sets you can go for. I believe, I've got to have it pulled up, and I'll pull it up here, but I believe it's Secret Wars, I think, is the one set that also can boost attack and is pretty good. I don't know if I've got, no, it's not Secret Wars, it's Age of X, and I don't know if I've got one here. I may not. Actually, here it is. Age of X, which gives you Reporting for Duty, which is the other Vibranium Release skill, and attack. So, Age of X is also another good one to go for, but I just like Marvel Now because Reporting for Duty, or what is it? Unbreakable Will. I'm getting my skills messed up. Unbreakable Will is just the better one. So Age of X is another good substitute skill or costume set to go for. Yeah, what was it? Secret Wars. I mean, that assistance is very good overall. I mean, you're gonna be using that for a lot of your classes anyways, so you can't go wrong by using that. But I mean, Age of X is probably one of the better ones to go for costumes. Now, in terms of costume stats, I've got these pretty well optimized except for the boots. Crit damage and crit rate on the helmet, that's pretty good. The chest piece, you want to go for attack and then crit rate. Yeah, the more attack you stack, the better off things are. Power is incredibly it's incredibly weighted towards attack. So the more attack you have, I think like each point of attack gives like 3 or 4 times the amount of power that a point in defense or HP does. Attack gives a huge boost to your power. So that is something to consider. As you get more attack, your power is just going to skyrocket. So more attack on the chest. For your shield, defense. Now, you can go for dodge. Dodge is pretty good for PvP, but defense, stacking that defense, I'll look at that, almost 15% bonus defense with the shield. My 1-inch storage that I've got is actually pretty nasty. I think it's almost like 16% with this one. Yeah, look at that, 15.2% on that. Yeah, I mean, the attack there, this is stuff I was working on. The crit rate and crit damage here on the helmet, those are all very good. But then the final one's going to be your boots, and that's the stamina recovery and cooldown decrease. Maybe the top two priorities there for the boots. Those are just your best ones overall. For your badges, you know, we've already been over the cores, but yeah, stamina recovery, like this badge is nasty. The cooldown decrease and 3 stacks of stamina recovery, I will never be replacing this on my cap. That stamina recovery is going to be big because you're using a lot of abilities that use up a lot of stamina. So boost that stamina recovery, you're going to be pretty good there. So without further ado, let's show this off in a raid. All right, so let's see how this goes. I mean, I just tried this before and I cleared about 2.5-3 minutes, so this shouldn't be too bad. And I'll walk you guys through it a little bit as we go through the fight. And we're gonna pretty much use the hand-to-hand skill as much as possible to try and increase our skill damage. I'm going to save it here because I'm about to use my Vibranium Release ability. So I'm sitting at 100% on the Vibranium gauge. Use the hand-to-hand, Vibranium Release, and I couldn't quite save it. I think it was about 300k on that. Or 200k. Not bad. Go. About 240k on that, not bad. Hopefully we get a crit here. I mean, I'm running like 50% crit, but I have this bad habit of not critting when I needed to. About 230k on that again. I should just lock on from the beginning. Man, it's just not getting the crits tonight, which is unfortunate. I really want to show you those nasty crit damage numbers. Oh, 1.3 million on the ult though, so that's not bad. Ah, screw it. We're just gonna go for the hit there. Alright, come on, give it to me. There we go, 500k on that, not bad.
Gotta keep fighting.
See if we can get one more good hit in. Ah, we're not gonna get it. But yeah, I mean, you guys can see what it was doing there. About 3 minutes, not bad. Kind of slowing things down to see if we can get a good hit there. But yeah, I mean, the shield, the Vibranium Release, you guys can see it all there. It does some good damage. 500k on that crit. Outside of bosses, just a little bit more. I mean, they've got higher defense on them, so that's where that defense pierce does kind of come into handy. Does come a little handy there, but outside of raids, that is going to hit a lot harder. But let me know down below what you guys think about this. Make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.